Hey programmers, Alvin here. Right now let's go over LeetCode number 242, the valid anagram problem. So in this problem we're going to be given a string as well as another string. What we want to do is return a true or false, indicating whether or not the two input strings are anagrams of each other. Two strings are considered anagrams if they contain the same characters, but not necessarily in the same order. So for this particular example, with anagram and nagaram, that would be true. Those are indeed two anagrams. They have the same characters, just rearranged. Let's look at another example. Let's say I had rat as well as car. Well, these two strings would not be anagrams, so I would want to return false. Although they both have an R and an A, they mismatch with the T and the C. So let's talk about a strategy for this one. I think the classic way you want to solve this is by using a hash map. You know that your hash map stores key value pairs, right? Well, here you can make your characters the key, and you can make the corresponding value the number of occurrences or the count of that character within the respective string. So what does that mean here? Let's say I had my two strings. What would be really nice is if I could generate a count hash map for each of these. In other words, for anagram, I want to make it so that the corresponding keys are the characters and the values are going to be the number of times that character appears. And the way you would generate this is by using the classic iterative algorithm. So I could start at the A here, and I can check, is A currently in my hash map? It's not, so I can initialize it for the first time. Set its initial count to 1. I continue this process. Now I'm at the N. I see that N is not in my hash map yet, so I add it for the first time. Go to the next iteration. I can see that A actually already exists in my hash map, so I increment its existing value. And this process continues. Initialize G into your hash map, initialize R into your hash map, increment the A in your hash map, and initialize the M in your hash map. And if you did this process, you could do a similar process for your other string. So I'll just go ahead and generate it over here. At this point, you just want to compare these two hash maps. In other words, you want to check if the two hash maps are equal. And by hash map equality here, we mean that the contents of the hash maps are the same, meaning that the keys match up and so do the corresponding values. Notice that the order of the keys within both of these hash maps, they differ slightly, and that's okay. Generally, your hash maps are unordered. So let's break this down some more. Let's say on the left, we had that as count 1, and on the right, that would be our count 2. So depending on your programming language of choice, this is either something really easy to do, or you might have to do it manually. For example, what you want to do in Python would just be count 1 double equals count 2. And that would just check if the contents of your two hash maps are the same. In another language like Java, let's say, you'll want to do count 1 dot equals and pass in count 2 into that method. If you're a programmer from a language like JavaScript, then you're kind of out of luck here. There is no quick and clean built-in way to compare your hash maps. So you have to write the algorithm manually, which I think is actually still a really great exercise, even if your programming language of choice has a nice built-in method, because it kind of shows us what the complexity of the underlying equality is. So let's actually go over it here. Let's say that we wanted to manually check if two hash maps are equal. And so how would you go about doing that? Well, the first thing you want to do is you want to check if the number of keys in both of the hash maps is the same. Obviously, if one hash map is bigger than the other, then they can't possibly be equal. And after you verify that the number of keys is the same in both hash maps, then what you want to do is loop through each key of one of the hash maps and verify if that same key value pair exists in the other hash map. So let's actually run through this algorithm just conceptually here. So let's say looking at my first hash map here, I can see that it has a size of 5, meaning that there are 5 keys in this hash map. Looking at the second one, there are also 5 keys. So I pass step 1. Now that I verified the number of keys, I want to go through step 2. I want to loop through each key of, say, my count 1. So I have the A here, right? What I want to do is find a corresponding entry in the other hash map. So in count 1, I have A3. If I look over to count 2, there's also an A3. So I'm good to go. Next iteration, I have N1. I also find N1 over here. Similarly, G1, G1 right here, R1, R1 right here, and M1 matches across as well. Obviously, if you found any mismatch along this journey, then you would want to return false. They're not equal. But because we didn't find any mismatches, we have just verified that it's true that both of these hash maps are indeed equal. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and come up with the time complexity of just this sub-algorithm, right? The algorithm of just checking manually if two hash maps are equal. What would the time complexity be? The time complexity here is just O of n linear because we had to iterate through one of our hash maps. Notice that when we checked for a matching entry in the other hash map, that would perform a constant time lookup, because of course, hash maps do have a lookup in constant time. So what that means is, even when you do a built-in check like double equals in Python or dot equals in Java, when you do that equality check for hash maps, under the hood, it is still going to run in linear time, although you're calling just a built-in method, right? Do bear in mind that checking if two hash maps are equal, that does not happen in constant time. It's actually a mistake I see students make all the time. Great. So with this subroutine complexity in mind, what would be the complexity for our full algorithm? Our full algorithm being the thing that checks if two anagrams are the same. Let's go ahead and say that n is the length of string 1 and m is the length of string 2. What would the time complexity be? Well, to me, the time complexity is pretty straightforward, going to be an n plus m runtime, right? So where do these complexities come from? We started this algorithm by converting string 1 into a hash map, that takes n time, and then we converted string 2 into a hash map, and that takes m time. And then after, we have to check if our two hash maps are equal. And to do that, we explicitly iterated over the length of our first hash map. So that would be n. If you kind of rearrange things here, this now reads 2n plus m. And of course, you could drop that 2 part, because you can drop any multiplicative constants in your time complexity. So really, the total time complexity here is n plus m. If you look at the space complexity is pretty straightforward. It's just going to be n plus m. Of course, coming from the two different hash maps that we created. However, there is actually a really important constraint that they mention in this problem. In the problem, they actually tell us that your input string is only going to contain lowercase alphabetic characters. In other words, your input strings can only have characters A through Z, so all those lowercase ones, right? We know that that's just the alphabet, right? And there are 26 letters in the alphabet. So what that means is if you look at any of these hash maps, the total number of keys in the worst case in any of these hash maps is just going to be 26 because they give us that constraint, right? In this problem, they give us a fixed alphabet size. So the number of keys in any of these hash maps is never going to be greater than 26. So what that means is really you have O of 26 space here, which really simplifies down to just O of 1 constant space. Again, the important thing is you're allowed to write this notation because they tell us that the alphabet size is fixed. So I'll show you how to solve this a few different ways. Let's just start with like the really nothing fancy solution, avoiding any built-in helper methods here. So let's say you wanted to create the character count hash map out of your S as well as your T string. And so I would maybe split this up. I'll create like a little helper. I'll just call it char count. And it's going to take in some generic string. I know I want to create a character count dictionary here, so I'll just say count equals an empty dictionary. Now I'm going to iterate through the characters of S. So for char in S. So what I want to do is make sure that this character exists at least as a key within my count dictionary. So I can say if maybe the character is not yet in the dictionary, then I need to initialize it for the first time. So I can set count of char, set it equal to 0. And after this if statement runs, I'm going to initialize it to 0. Then I can just feel free to increment it. So I could just do count of char plus equals 1. Do bear in mind, let's say it's the case that the character already exists within my dictionary. Well, then this if statement is false. So you just increment the existing value. So this code is good to go. From here, I'll just return the count. Great. So maybe we'll just do a quick little check here. I just want to make sure this helper function's working. So I'm just going to print out whatever char count of S is, and I'll even do that for T. So I'm using the same helper for both of these strings, right? Be sure to call self dot here. So I'm just going to hit run. Just want to do a little debugging before I commit to the full runtime here. So notice that my S string is anagram. And there I have printed out my counter dictionary and a similar dictionary for the Anagram. Cool. So this looks good to go. Those counts look correct to me. And so what I'm saying is really straightforward. Because you're in Python, you can just compare these dictionaries straight up, right? So I know that on the left side of this double equals, this is a dictionary. This is also a dictionary. Python, you could use double equals to check for equal contents of two dictionaries. So this would be all you need here. Just go ahead and hit submit. There you have your solution. That's why I love coding in Python. But let's say you wanted to maybe challenge yourself a little bit. Maybe you want to perform the comparison for equality. If you wanted to do that manually, so how would that look? We spoke about that algorithm on the whiteboard. So what you can do is the first thing you want to do is just check that the number of keys are the same. So maybe I'll save this as my count1 and also grab my count2. So I'll check if they're not equal. So if the length of count1 is not equal to the length of my count2, then I can just return false. Great. But if they are the same, then what I want to do is just verify the contents of each. So I'll just choose to iterate over one of my counts here. So I'll say for maybe char in count1, right? And I'm just going to check if the count1 of that character is equal to count2 of the character. So if they're equal, that means it's good to go. But if they're not equal, that means I found a mismatch. So I can immediately return false. And on the flip side, only after your for loop is done running, that's where you can return true. Great. So this would be like the manual way of checking if two of your dictionaries are equal. Notice that somewhat key pattern here is we have an early return false when you find a single mismatch, and you have a late return true, right? Only after we iterated through all characters and never found a mismatch, then we can return true. That kind of like early return, late return logic is really common in a bunch of LeetCode problems. So it's nice practice over here. So here I'm getting a little runtime error, so we can debug this one together. Failing test case 1, my input string is rat, and my other one is car. And it's telling me that I have a key error T. So Python's telling me that you try to access a key of T within your dictionary, but there is none. And that would be coming from the dictionary we get from car, right? There is no T in car. And so what we want to do is actually maybe extend this condition and just check if maybe the key doesn't exist at all in the other count. So I can just extend this with an or, and here I'll check if char not in count 2. I know the character is certainly in count 1 because that's where I got it from when I iterated. And so I'm just additionally checking if it's not in count 2. Then I can also return false. So let's give that a go. Nice. And there we have it. I think I'll just leave you with one final neat little Python thing we can do, because you have the luxury of doing this in Python. You could use the built-in collections, right? So I'll say from collections, import counter. And we'll just solve this in like the Python one-liner here. So I'll comment this out and we'll create like a final version of this. So you can just do return. You can say counter of S, check if that's equal to counter of T. So this will automatically generate the character count hash map for each string. Then you just compare them using double equals. Python is super awesome. I hope you found this video helpful. If you enjoy my teaching style, then I think you'll love my full Data Structures and Algorithms course at Structy.net. At Structy.net, I've designed a beginner-friendly DSA course that is way more effective than just grinding LeetCode. The truth is, like you've probably felt, LeetCode is not a great platform for learning algorithms because there's a steep learning curve and the explanations are all over the place. But in my course, I've designed each problem so that it builds on top of the last, so you'll really feel the progression. The best part is, I'll be there to explain each problem using the same clear animations and code walkthroughs that you saw in this video. So if you want to prep for your interviews without the frustrating LeetCode grind, then head to Structy.net. You can start for free today. I'll leave a link in the video description if you're interested. I'll see you there.